a CEO. I know. You're all thinking, isn't she a little young to be running a company? Yes. Yes, I am. I founded Smart Kids Tutor, a tutoring company run for students, by students, at the age of 16. Allow me to add a little perspective. In my first memory of Magic Kingdom, I must have been 5 years old. I was walking through the castle after a long day of princess meet and greets. I turned to my dad, dead serious, and asked, "Dad, who's in charge of the princesses?" He laughed and said, "Well, Larissa, that's the CEO of Disney." I considered this and then yelled at the top of my 5-year-old lungs, "I want to be the CEO of Disney when I grow up." That was 14 years ago, and if you ask me now, "Larissa, what are your goals?" I would say, I want to make a real impact in the world. I want to make that little girl proud. And becoming the CEO of Disney definitely wouldn't hurt. In 2020, I founded my own private tutoring company, so I feel I'm well on my way. I've learned that the key to success comes from 2 things: self-value and accepting the fact that sometimes you'll fail. When I figured out I was smart, my self-value began to grow. When I started taking my education seriously and succeeding, I realized I actually am fairly intelligent. Not quantum physics intelligent, but smart enough that I know how to listen to other people and build onto their ideas. This was the birth of a leader. The more I believed in myself, the more others believed in me. In high school, I created a mantra, which became a bucket list of sorts. Things I want to accomplish before I turn 20. I'm 19 now, and this list has driven me to grow more than I imagined. My first goal is to help someone in a big way, to truly touch someone's life, and I've done that through my tutoring company. Changing a student's relationship with education, helping them become confident in their abilities to succeed, is the realization of my goals. And it feels pretty fantastic to see it through, but it has never been easy, especially in 2020, when the world shut down. It was my sophomore year of high school, and I didn't return until I was a senior. Everyone had different experiences during lockdown, but only students understand what it's like to have your education completely derailed. We're taught for so long how important school is. Getting good grades means you'll get into a good college, get a good job, live a good life, and everything will be perfect. COVID threw that track out the window for everyone ages 5 through 25. It was the first time I struggled in school. Have you ever tried learning calculus over Zoom? I wouldn't recommend it. I was continually failing my tests, and I couldn't understand it no matter how hard I tried. It made me question my self-value. I ended up dropping the class halfway through the year. It was the first time I tried everything I could, but still failed. Instead of dwelling on calculus, I took a step back. I realized I wasn't the only student struggling, and there was a massive problem in the way the education system was handling COVID. The students that were in school were getting more attention and hands-on teaching than the virtual students. We seemed forgotten about, and it was nearly impossible for us to ask questions. And this was no fault of the teachers. They too were thrown into an unknown world of overwhelm. As an older student, I was able to see this and try to adapt to the new circumstances. But younger students didn't have the same advantage. Think back to your first day of kindergarten. Instead of mom dropping you off with a hug, you stay home in your pajamas, looking at your computer, and you don't even know how to use the keyboard because you're so young. Instead of recess with your friends, you're watching an episode of your favorite cartoon by yourself. Instead of drawing hand turkeys with the other students, you're doing it alone, isolated by the screen. Those formative experiences were non-existent for the virtual students. They had to learn how to learn completely alone. I saw the problem. I understood the problem because I experienced it. Kids were not equally receiving the quality education they needed, and it was going to have massive consequences. I knew the solution. It was staring me in the face. My friends and I had teaching abilities, knew the content inside and out, and were desperate for an opportunity to make real change. I asked myself, what would 5-year-old Larissa do, whose biggest dream is to make a difference in the world? And my company was born. That was the solution. The company started with one student. I was teaching biology twice a week, and my passion came across in my teaching. So they referred a friend, who referred more friends, and before I knew it, I had too many students to handle alone. So I enlisted friends to help, and I started developing the backbone of the company. Scheduling, paperwork, web design, payroll, you name it, I was doing it. Smart Kids Tutor now has over 30 tutors, an elementary after-school program, and a nonprofit that offers tutoring to kids who can't afford it. And it was all designed by 16-year-old me. Most people see young adults as a hormonal mess that only cares about the latest trends on social media. They say, teens spend too much time on their phones, they don't have enough life experience to make their own decisions, or they're not enough. They don't truly understand the academic pressure high-performing teens are under, and how it increases their maturity, sharpens decision-making, and hones time management skills, often beyond that of a typical adult. This misconception leads us to work in stereotyped jobs like a cashier at Publix or a Starbucks barista in the tiny amount of time we have outside of academics. For us youth, what is the value in being given a chance to be seen for the talents you have, not just judged on preconceived biases? It's life-changing. But with the world constantly putting young adults down, it can be difficult to remember our worth, to remember that we have value, that we bring something to the table. Giving teens a chance to change something now, even if it's something small, is a ladder to our future of making a difference. Teens are the most undervalued asset of the 21st century. So I decided to give them a chance. Over time and hard work, the company started to grow, but it wasn't easy. My senior year of high school, I was running the organization, focusing on my own academics and doing a billion other things because that's what colleges want to see. I stretched myself too thin. I scheduled calls with clients during my lunch period, woke up at 4 a.m. to send press releases, and did news interviews in the hallway in the middle of class. By some miracle, my academics didn't go out the window, but my physical health did. My senior year, I wound up in the hospital 4 times. There were times I wasn't sure I could keep myself running, let alone my company. The end of senior year comes around, and my life is just starting to get back on track. I found out I was going to be inducted into the Tampa Bay Business Hall of Fame. It was the first time I received external recognition for the things that I've done to grow my company. The acceptance banquet was the night before my high school graduation. I spent the whole night in heels and wore sneakers under my cap and gown. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had, to be in the same room and be seen by immensely successful people who wanted nothing more than to congratulate me and help me grow. 5-year-old me would have been proud. Then college acceptances started coming out, and I was rejected from every single school I wanted to attend. I wasn't expecting it handed to me on a silver platter, but I had poured the last 13 years of my life into securing a spot at the best school for me. My luck took a turn, and I was taken off the wait list at Emory University, where I am currently a business major. In the span of a month, I experienced recognition with the business, stress of exams, success in graduating, and failure of college rejections. I learned that success and failure often go hand in hand. You have to fail to grow, and you have to grow to succeed. Life is not a straight line. It's jagged and filled with wonder and grace, often masked as challenges to overcome. And I learned that the hard way with professional failure. We can all agree that failing is tough, but it's important and inevitable. After high school, I took a gap year before college. I spent the year trying new things with the company, which included developing an elementary after-school program. The goal was to create after-school enrichment with homework help and tutoring, STEAM games, and leadership building. Sounds amazing, right? Well, it is, but not when everything goes wrong. The initial launch was bumpy, and we were losing money and time. I worked for months to restructure the program while still teaching every day, and we successfully relaunched the following semester. It hurt, and I was stuck. It wasn't like I fell off my bike. It was like I crashed my bike, scraped myself up, got covered in mud, and twisted the handlebars backward so I couldn't steer. The last thing I wanted to do was pick myself up and keep going. But it's the only thing I know how to do because I cared too much to give up. I knew the value of what I was doing. I stood up and stepped back, taking time to figure out exactly what went wrong. And when the time was right, I tried again. And now I look back and I know how beneficial it was that I failed. Because I didn't just fail and move on. I failed, reevaluated, changed my ideas, brainstormed a new plan, and moved upward in a new direction. I failed upwards, and now I can laugh about it, just like I laugh about crashing my bike in the dirt. Nothing is ever perfect the first try. There are bound to be bumps in the road, and failing upwards is what makes you successful. Learning from experience and rebuilding in a more innovative way. Trying again. Understanding your value and making opportunities for yourself. Smart Kids Tutor began with one student. With over 30 tutors, we now tutor hundreds of students every month. I'm proud of how far we've come and excited to see what the future holds. I'm not going to become the first female CEO of Disney overnight. It's going to take time, successes, and failures for us youth to write the future. But we're going to be the ones who do. Thank you.